we saw them get into that endgame portion. That's pretty impressive stuff. It's not easy to collect victory royales like that, but a decent amount of action already taking place on our north part of the map here. A few teams trying to see what they can collect in the process.
We're up top near Stilts, I believe, right now. And it's kind of surprising to see Genesis and Reason, expecting them to be a little bit more south on the map, but they switched it up before the day started. No duels going down just yet. These guys have something new cooking on the Frosty side.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that over at this stone tower, Giannis and Reason largely expecting to be uncontested here. There's me, Sloxe, and Citra, who had other plans in mind instead. They're just gonna go ahead and keep on clearing out the top half of this building. Reason, meanwhile, crouching along the bottom, trying to make sure that he's able to collect some materials for builds in the process, because just look at those mats, Shy. I mean, only 2 to work with for the time being, and you know he wants to just take the battle into his own hands, right up the zip line. Nice shot's gonna connect, but doesn't have a whole lot of shield to work with. Has to be careful on the descent.
Yeah, no master, just shots is where things get crazy. Got to be very careful. Limited HP all around. But Genesis Reason have the advantage up top right now. Sintra, or Citra, and his team are going to be able to just get as many mats as possible down below, but they look to just speed things up a bit and start to move. Exposed for a second, more shots come in. Reason and Genesis have so much control.
But look at the shield advantage right now for Sloxe and Reason. Giannis still trying to maintain a little bit of the high ground here. Height, always nice to have, and a good drop out of Reason is going to be the first not confirmed. An easy siphon collect as well, a little bit of build materials, and a pickup of just confidence here. When you're opening at your drop with an elimination to start, 2 versus 1 situation here, it's going to be tough now for Citra to even have a chance to escape, much less live.
Just delaying the inevitable right now is exactly what Citra is doing. Unfortunate that Slox goes down like that, because they were trying to do some type of split on them, it looks like, but it's not going to be in their cards whatsoever for them to survive for too long. We'll see what ends up happening next in a little bit. Yapko, Paco in the distance, just adjusting where they're going to be starting the game. Rivers up in the air, but Reason doesn't even care. He's just focused on the fight that's happening at the bottom right now. Just looking to see how far this one will go. Meanwhile, Riz on Rexy across the map. And just, yeah, this fight just going to take a long time, because I don't think Cytra's is going to give it up really easy at all.
But that's the thing. The amount of time that's already been expended here for Giannis and Reason. Sure, you've gotten 1 elimination in the process, but knowing that there's still an opposing member there in Citra at your location, they're just having to spend so much more time they could be utilizing on farming instead. Near the gas station, though, for Shadow and Cry Falls, they find themselves in a little bit of a predicament. Shot will not connect. Right side peak going to be given up for the time being. Now it's Tripper and Refs trying to see if they can find a moment to collapse here. And Trip, just doing his best to sneak around, has a pretty ninja-like position. And it doesn't seem as though there's going to be any further push, but Trip, he's got to work this one on his own for the time being, given that Refs is already out.
Tripper and Refs guard. This is a fight they have to win with speed. A lot of the times they just end up taking it too long in these fights. Their position looks a little bit wary, and then after that, Surge has been an issue for them in Major 3. Now, though, Tripper, really good defensive options. Backing up, it's a 1v2, unfortunately. For this man, this might just be the end. Unseen, though, on this side, but no, it's just the repositioning from Shrift right there. I mean, this is just unfortunate for the duo in terms of a game 1 start. They won't have 2 days to rock this one. Between with Janice and Reason, again, getting a little bit more northern as they go straight for Locks and Chapix. And they're trying their best to stay in the game, get anything done, get a little bit more aggression, but having that type of fight over to have no resources to really fight Taco, and they go down easy.
And that's just so painful, though, for Giannis and Reason, because, again, they had to spend so much time just dealing with that initial duo at their drop. They didn't really get a chance to ever recover. And that's the thing, is that it's all too easy for another team to just stroll on in during that engagement. But a little bit of a slower down pace here for Crizzy. Already a couple of eliminations to his name. So we'll have an opportunity to farm things out, but a nice breakthrough of builds, and it is just non-stop pressure here for calling it close as well. But the Man Thistle will be enough to actually confirm that final elimination. So now it's all about just spending what time they have left in the early game to collect as much as possible in terms of heals and materials.
Time to rift up. Yapko Paco moving in and actually playing the north side the most conventionally that we've seen so far. I think Yanis Reason just had a little bit of a hurdle on everyone else. These are not their builds for now, so they're taking up a old build fight that we saw go down at the very start of the game. It's nice how everything moves around. A few teams have already fallen around, but you can see that everyone has their own little route they're kind of going through in this early game, fighting and not hopefully all inning a lot of the times. A lot of the teams that we see back and forth. Bala Alex Cod over at Shattered Slabs for them, getting towards the mid game also slightly challenging. They want to be able to make it towards that 8th, 9th zone. Really healthy, good on Surge. That'll be the biggest challenge here from Slabs. So many teams, so much action. They can only handle, you know, just as much as they can.
But at the same time, this is a great opportunity for Alex and Bala to collect some much needed surge tag damage, and something they definitely seem to be keeping their eyes on. Just kind of taking peeks where they can, shots where they find openings without having to eat any in return. It's always ideal so you can actually keep your heals in tow. And just taking their time to farm. I mean, this vault opening as well, a really nice upgrade in terms of weaponry and heals available now for Alex and Bala.
Yeah, they'll get it. They go in and out. It'll be all good. Meanwhile, people inside a hyperbolic time chamber, just keep your eyes on these two names, Bevies, Pablo Wingu. Have some of the biggest strength coming in to this last chance major. And at the same time, just as a duo in a lobby like this, where a lot of the titans that end up stopping them in their tracks, a lot of the people that give them unfavorable options off spawn, they're not here. It just means that these guys have everything going right for them to get first place by hundreds of points if they played how they just did a week ago. So it should be very exciting for Bevies and Pablo Wingu.
And Bevies, he's already looking to take matters into his own hands. Finds an opportunity to look for a quick and easy elim, and it's going to be the deal, it seems like, fighting for his life right now up against the likes of Bevies and Pablo Wingu. And Savage finally going to be able to provide a little bit of backup next to Vidil. This will cause Bevies to pause for a moment, but it's all about the build destruction right now. Unlikely to find Mr. Savage and Vidil in a situation where they want to get pinched. So Mr. Savage definitely being mindful of any teams that might be more south of his current location here. He's got Bevies and Pablo directly in front of him, but he knows just how quickly other teams will look to line up for me. And just like that, Savage already eating about half his health as far as shields is concerned.
Man, if it's not Archie 1 week, it's gonna be Pablo and Bevies coming at you on a box for the last chance. I'm not sure which one is harder to deal with, someone completely coming through off spawn or you being in the sights, and the rotation of one of the most notorious duos that wins box fights so fast. It's gonna be a long 3 hours for those guys here today. Moneymaker and Finayan, we saw their chance over in that third major as well. Biggest issue for these guys is just staying on the same page overall. When it comes to fights, sometimes, you know, they end up getting a little bit panicked and then don't stay together on rotations. We saw over towards the 9th zone, the 10th zone, Moneymaker in solo positions, Finayan in solo positions as well. Never together as a duo, but if they get that duo synergy locked in, it should be consistently when they are together, so that's what they need to aim for.
Yeah, plus I'm sure that Finayan and Moneymaker are definitely happy about that cash collection they were able to pick up. Again, just some really nice resources. A beautiful shot, though, out of Howley with the Mammoth Pistol. 135 is a pretty substantial tag, if I do say so myself, Shio. Definitely not the sort of damage you want to be eating all the way down on the low ground.
Yeah, accuracy is big. Howley, we've seen him take those shots before, too. From now all the way to that 6th zone, he's just really good at capitalizing on any opportunity given to him. So much fun. Pablo Bevies, though, once again, just claims so much space with how they play. You got one box, you get a lot more. You got two casters. We'll give you one more mid-game analyst to explain how Pablo and Bevies are in this position. Minnie, what's up?
Well, of course, the big talking point going into today is that Pablo and Bevies are actually uncontested at their drop spot for the first time. It's going to be interesting to see how they develop their storm surge strategies throughout the day, but for now they've actually managed to capture that vault at their POI. Of course, they're guaranteed that, of course, if it does spawn there, so it's really, really great stuff from them. There's no other teams around to capture a cache as well. We see these guys fighting for their cache a little bit right now, so I think that could be what their storm surge strategy is for this game. I'm kind of intrigued as to how that's going to develop, though. Will they try and fight a little bit more for surge?
Sheesh. Look, if there's one thing I know for sure, Shayo, is that if you are watching Pablo and Bevies with a plethora of legendary slurp juices, you just have to assume the best sort of outcome for them.
No, absolutely, and 100% the other thing too, they're going to fight. I mean, these guys fight non-stop all the way till that end game starts. We see them on top of that island too, day after day, game after game. I just can't wait to see what this duo does. If they get 6 games uncontested, that's going to be huge. And I mentioned the island, it spawns in. Pablo's already there, does not want to give this up for free. They got so much loot to fight with. Slurps, they have about, what is it, maybe 2 minutes inside the storm. These guys are looking so good.
Pablo and Bevies definitely feeling pretty good about this one. Bevies, though, did seem to eat a couple of tags in the process of rifting up onto the island. It's definitely something you always have to keep in mind whenever you're choosing to actually go for the capture point here. But they're definitely not alone. I mean, we saw as much as upwards of 8 teams, Shayo, during the Major 3 finals. So wouldn't be too surprised to continue to see just like several or more teams looking to challenge, because there is so much to be won at the Rift Island, not only in the capture point, but just if you're able to establish a good positioning at height, then you can start maybe looking to try and control the lobby, control some of those teams that are looking to rotate further inwards, that have been stuck a little bit more towards the edge of zone and not giving them those free dead side rotates.
Yeah, Pablo Levies are very good when they get that control up top. They actually block off a lot of sight lines from the top house. The team always thinks they have a lot of downward pressure for free, but they build out 1 or 2 more boxes and edit those floors, end up stealing away a lot of the pressure higher elevated teams would have. That's why they're usually 1,000 damage almost, or 600 damage above surge, and then they can do whatever they want in the end game. Meanwhile, Kaizen Clement rocking in. It's always weird when I don't get to say different times, same region.
Hey, you never know, though. With the way that teams have seemingly been playing musical chairs almost, it feels like. Switching, I mean, wouldn't be surprised to see some teams look to return. But for right now, the focus here on today, Belusi, Vortex, another team, a little bit more towards that edge side of zone. And even though we've been in this like no mobility meta for a while, it seems as though a lot of teams have really learned Shilo's just not expending all of their mats during these rotations, and that's why we're seeing so many teams often opt to just try and play along that edge side of zone and focus more on surge damage.
That's also about using the right mats at the right time. I mean, if you're somewhere in the jungle biome, it's fine to expend them and then go for trees. Just refarm completely. Talked about Alex and Bala really good at being together in side fights and pressuring the same